So today we're going to be taking the Transformers Kingdom Voyager class Tigatron. Before we take a look, let's take a look at the packaging. So here is the packaging. We have, of course, Tigatron in his Tiger mode. Here on the side, here he is in his robot mode with his really cool tail whip accessory running into battle. I think that looks really, really cool. And here he is, of course, on both modes on the back of the box, and he transforms into 23 steps. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. So let's get into the review of Tigatron in his robot mode. I think he looks very, very cool. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very, very top, that head sculpt looks really, really good. We have some white for the main helmet section. We have some red for that crest section. We have some really nice sparkling blue for the face and some red for the eyes. We do have some more blue on the shoulders, some at the hinges, and some more at the crotch, and some at the bottom of the legs. We have some nice white and a little bit of a kind of cream white right there. That looks really good. We do have the nice tiger face right on the chest. I think that looks really good. We have some pink for the nose, some black for the whiskers. We have some more of this kind of creamy grayish white mixture for the fur, which is a little bit visible on like the outside of the legs, and of course here there's more visible, of course, in the tiger mode. We do have a lot of nice fur texturing, which is really, really nice. We have some yellow and black for the eyes, and of course some more black stripes there. I think that looks really, really good. We do have some nice green, of course, for the crotch, some more kind of silver armor plating there. We have some white on the background, some more white on the inside of the legs there. That looks pretty good. And some more white and kind of spiking detailing on the feet. So yeah, overall detail-wise looks really good. As you can see, of course, back here they store the animal or beast legs back here, and of course the other are on the legs. That's exactly how they were stored, of course, with Cheetor, Ravage, and Shadow Panther. So the layout of this figure is pretty similar, but of course you can tell he is a lot more chunky than Shadow Panther and Cheetor, which I will bring out in just a second for comparison. But yeah, overall he looks really, really good. So this figure was voted the best Kingdom figure of the year. So if you recall back when Hasbro PulseCon was happening, there was a poll and there was two questions. There was, what's your favorite Kingdom figure and what's your favorite Beast Wars Season 1 character? I did vote for Tigatron for the favorite Kingdom character. I did not have this figure at the time. It's just on the rest of the list there was a lot of characters from Kingdom, but they never really were my top favorites. It was really hard to just pick one, so I just went with the one I don't have. Is he my favorite? No. He actually was going to be in my top 5. I was going to do a top 5 Kingdom figure little video. I will do that very soon. He was going to be in that lineup, but actually recently his place was taken by Kingdom Blaster. So I will let you know why there's a few problems and why he was taken his place by Kingdom Blaster throughout this review, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So yeah, overall looks really good, really, really good. So accessory wise, he has this really cool gut gun here. I'll take that out of his hands. I think that's done very well. I really do wish this came with Shadow Panther and Cheetor. That really was a big mistake on their parts, but I think it looks really good. Some nice pink, and the rest is really white. There was one really cool feature which I did recently just learn, that you can separate this section here. I'm not entirely sure why this is an option. I'm thinking maybe it's for like stop motion purposes, like you can have him reloading the gun. That's just a thought, I don't know. So of course you can have him stored in his hand, and that's pretty much it for storage wise, but you know, one-way storage is fine. It's just a gun. The other accessory is his little tail whip thing. This is my least favorite accessory because if you saw in the packaging art, it was like a whip and it bended a ton. There is no hinge in this, which is my major problem with it. I really do wish there was a hinge so you could bend it back and forth and move it better and have really cool poses for it. But storage-wise, of course, you can just have him hold that in his hands just like that, and that's pretty much it. It looks okay. I do think it brings the message across as like a whip or a weapon or something like that, or maybe a sword or a scythe, whatever you want to call it. It looks okay, just fine. Detail wise, it does have that kind of weird mixture, that kind of grayish white mixture and the black spots, which I think looks pretty good. There's also that fur texturing on there, which looks quite nice. So yeah, just two accessories, but overall, the tail, not the greatest accessory, but the gun, I think they did really, really good on. I really do like this robot mode. I think it looks really, really good. Let's get into some comparisons, and then we're going to get into articulation. A quick comparison with Cheetor, Tigatron, Shadow Panther, and of course Ravage. So as you can see, the structure-wise, they are quite similar, really down to the arms. They are quite similar. The legs and how they are positioned, of course, if you see, the Beast Mode legs are stored on top of the Robot Mode legs. Also, the other Beast legs are stored on the very back, so it's quite similar. Of course, all the head sculpts are completely different, but as you can see with these three figures here, all the Beast Mode heads are stored on the chest, of course, besides Ravage, because his Robot Mode head is his Beast mode head as well. Of course, all the accessories are different, the color and the paint apps are different. Really, the most similar figures are Cheetor and Shadow Panther here. The transformation is the exact same, of course, just down to the head sculpt and the paint apps. That's pretty much it. Tigatron is pretty much a standalone figure. It does have some similarities here with Ravage. Ravage is pretty similar to these two, but of course he does not have those little shoulder pieces. He has a different transformation and a different accessory. So there is some similarities here and there between all these figures. I would have to say probably the worst of these four figures is Cheetor, which is unfortunate just because he has that breakage problem. He is kind of, I would say, a cheap version of Cheetor. I really do wish they just scrapped this version and just used the Tigatron or Ravage mold and done that, because this mold is not that good for Cheetor. I think it works best with Shadow Panther here because there's no breakage problems. Not saying that Shadow Panther is a perfect figure, but I think he uses it better than Cheetor does, in my personal opinion. Between these four, which one's my favorite? I kind of go back between Tigatron and Ravage. Hard to say. Let me know which one is your favorite and least favorite of this collection. Again, hard to say in my opinion, but still, four really cool characters. Cheetor, not my favorite. The other three, I would say, are pretty darn good figures. So now, let's get into Articulation, and then, of course, Transformation. Articulation, I did store all the accessories off to the side, just so they wouldn't get in the way. So let's start at the very top. His head can rotate all the way around. It can, like, slightly up and down. The arms can move that far up, that far down. They can move that far out, and that far in, of course. There is a swivel. There is an elbow joint. There's actually double joint there. There is a full rotation at the wrist, and that's pretty much it for the arms. For the waist, it can, if you just move the little beast mode legs back, it can move this far that way, and of course this far that way. It cannot do a full 360 spin just because there is some screw there, but it can pretty much do it. You just have to go that way and then that way. For the legs, there's some pretty good articulation. You can do the full splits. You can kick that far forward, that far back. If you want to, you can move this little panel up, so you can move that far back. There is a swivel to a full 360 degree. There is a knee bend, and of course there's an ankle tilt to a very good degree. So yeah, pretty good articulation. One last thing you can do, if you want to do some more dynamic poses, you can move these little panels back here back. Also, of course, you can position these little beast mode legs however you wish. You could have them like that. You could cross them over, you know, whatever you want. So pretty good articulation for Tigatron. So I'm just going to kind of straighten him up a little bit after articulation. Then we're going to get into transformation. Now that I've straightened him up a little bit, let's get into transformation. So first up, what you're going to want to do is just move the arms up out of the way, and then you can just bring these sections out right here. And this is actually one of the problems that I have with Tigatron. Unfortunately, these pieces do not tab into place. As you can see, there is a slot and there is a tab there. That is supposed to tab into place, but it really doesn't. There's really no way you can get it to tab into place, which is unfortunate. So that's really one minor downfall with this character. Not a major problem, I would say, but still a problem that needs to be mentioned. You just bring these pieces back here like that. Then you bring this whole section down. Then you're going to fold the arm up like that. And as you can see, there is a slot and a tab right there, and that will just tab in place. You're just going to slide that to the side, go back here, just tab this into place like that. It might untab a little bit, which is unfortunate, but after a while it will stay in place. Do the same thing on the other side, just hinge that up, move this to the side like this. You're going to go back here, tab this arm into place like that. There we go. And the done result will look like this. This will make the really belly and sides of the beast mode. Then what you're going to want to do is untab this section here. So there's a tab and there is a slot right there. Then you're going to open up this section here, bring in the head like that, collapse this up. Then you can hinge this up like that. Then you're going to want to close this whole section up to form the body of the beast mode like that. So the first time I got this, it would not want to tab. As you can see here, it tabs pretty good. So if you get this figure and you're wondering why does it not tab super securely, just transform it a few times, just kind of loosen up the joints a little bit, then it will look nice and flush like that. So then you can kind of straighten out the beast mode legs like that. There we go. Now, doing the last bit of the transformation, you can just kind of push these sections out like that. Then we're going to get this little piece, push that through, get the heel spur, fold that in, bring that in, like that. bring this out, do the same thing on the other side. As you can see, these legs are very, very similar to the other figures of this mold. Cheetor, Shadow Panther, and Ravage. It's a very similar transformation. Really just that little cavity thing you push out, there's no gap there anymore. There is a little bit of a gap with Shadow Panther and Cheetor. Ravage has the same feature where it kind of fills in that gap, which is quite nice. You just bring this section down and it will tap into place. Then what you're going to want to do, of course, is get that little tailpiece. There is a little port there. This will just slide into place. Just kind of straighten everything out. Put the legs nice and flat so it can stand properly. And here is Tigatron in his tiger. Tigatron in his tiger mode, I think he looks very, very good. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very front, we have some more of that kind of white grayish mixture on the fur or mane. We have the ears done in white. We have some nice black and white stripes. We have the pink for the nose. We have some whiskers there. We have some yellow and black for the eyes. We do have some more, of course, the black and white stripes all over the figure. We have some nice fur texturing all over the figure. We do have really nice bone detailing on the legs at the very front, some on the back as well, of course, and the back is mostly done in that kind of grayish cream mixture there. I think that looks really, really good. Some more on the top of the body and the tail, as you can see, with the black spots, of course. That looks very, very nice. So really, most of the, abstract detailing is really on the face. The rest is kind of a repeat of all the details, really just black and white stripes and that interesting mixture there. We do have a little bit of blue showing, not really realistic to a tiger, but of course that's just from the robot mode, so can't cover all the details up. There is some more blue there from a hinge, but if you ignore that, it's a pretty good looking tiger mode, in my personal opinion. So of course, storage-wise for the accessories, there is the tail just ported into there, so there's that. And of course, he does have a pistol, which not the best storage. Really, the only way you can store it is there's 2 ports on the belly, and you just get the handle, and you can just plug that into place on either port. So yeah, not the best storage, but I think it does stay true to its name, because the name of the gun is a gut gun, so it's near its stomach, so I guess it does sort of make sense appearance-wise. Doesn't look the greatest in my opinion, but storage is storage. I think it would have made more sense if maybe there isn't a little area there to store on the leg, or maybe on the top. Somewhere would have been quite nice. For me, whenever it's in the tiger mode, I just leave the accessory off, for me, in my personal opinion. So yeah, very, very good tiger. So articulation-wise, starting at the very front, of course, the mouth can open all the way open and close. The front legs here can rotate all the way around. They can move out. And there is a hinge forward and back. There's also a hinge at the paw up and of course down, and there is also a ball joint at the paw. So for all the paws, there's that hinge and also of course a ball joint. For the back legs, I'm just going to take the tail out just so it doesn't get in the way. So these are the robot mode legs, so there is a lot of articulation in them, so of course they can do the full splits. There is a swivel. There is a hinge forward and back. There's also a hinge here. And of course, there's that ball joint at the paw. So pretty good articulation. You could get him into some really nice poses. Him running into battle, or hunting a Predacon. All that sort of stuff that Tigatron does in the Beast Wars show. Get some really nice landscape, pictures. If you have a little Beast Wars jungle display, that would look really, really cool. So very, very good tiger. So now let's get into a comparison with Cheetor. Here we have Transformers Kingdom Voyager class Tigatron with Transformers Kingdom Deluxe class Cheetor from Wave 1. So as you can see, they're quite similar in really design and overall structure. As you can see, the front legs are quite similar with the paw design. Of course, this one's really more chunky because it's a Voyager. This is a Deluxe, more slender. It's a cheetah. This is more of a tiger, of course. But overall, as you can see, there is some similarities of like how the feet stick out at the back, the head, of course. But of course, transformation is pretty much completely different. But as also you can see, the tail does just peg in the back, which is one problem I do have with these beasts. There is no articulation in the tail, which is very unfortunate. I really do wish there was a hinge there, so you could have it, hinge back and forth or move back and forth for stop motion or just a picture. Have it more in a dynamic pose rather than it just, sticking out the back just like that straight, which is kind of unfortunate. I do have to give props to the Kingdom Ravage, because he actually has a ball joint at his beast head, because of course that is also his robot mode head, so that is really nice. I also do wish there was some articulation in these heads too. That is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, overall, I think Tigatron is a really good figure. Again, Cheetor probably the weakest one because of the breakage problems, and also it does seem kind of last minute thought just kind of put together. After seeing Ravage, Shadow Panther, and Tigatron, it does not seem like they took a lot of time with it, which is unfortunate. I do hope they make another version of him in the future. I'm kind of doubting it because, of course, this one's only like a year old, so it might be quite a while before we get another Cheetor. But yeah, again, really good figure. Let me know which one you like the most out of those 4 figures I showed before. I think that's pretty much it, so let's get into the final thoughts. To the final thoughts of this review, I think overall Tigatron's a pretty good figure. Starting in the tiger mode, I think overall, appearance-wise, it looks very realistic to a tiger, of course, minus the blue bits here and there. I think it looks really good. I really do like that weird kind of grayish, bluish kind of white mixture. Really, honestly, hard to describe on the legs and the tail. It's really good. Actually kind of a surprise, because, you know, when you think of a normal tiger, you just think, you know, black and white stripes, and that's pretty much it. So it's kind of nice how they added that new color which you wouldn't expect. I think the head sculpt of the tiger looks really good. Nice nose, mouth, and eyes. I think it looks very realistic. Love the fur texturing detailing. Overall, really nice. My one downside, or 2 downsides to this tiger mode, I think there should be a hinge at the tail so it could sway back and forth or hinge back and forth to be in a more dynamic pose, so he's like running or hunting down a Predacon. I also do wish there was better storage for the gun. You really just plug it on the belly of the tiger. It doesn't look very good appearance-wise. It does make sense with the name, of course, because the name is a gut gun, so it's next to his stomach, so I guess it does sort of make sense. Transformation from tiger to robot and robot to tiger, I think it's pretty simple, just a little bit fiddly sometimes with the arms, but overall quite simple after you do it once or twice. Robot mode, I really don't have that many problems. I just wish that under the tiger head, those 2 little sections I mentioned earlier tabbed in better. That is kind of a disappointment that they did not tab in fully. They don't really, you know, flap everywhere. I just wish there was not a gap there. You can tell that they are not tabbed in when they're supposed to, so that is kind of unfortunate. But the head sculpt looks amazing. Really like that nice, shiny, sparkly blue on the face. Nice, really dark red for the eyes. Love the crest section on the head. All the details of the figure look really good. It's very chunky, actually quite a hefty figure, which is quite nice. It's not very light. For Voyager, it's very thick, very sturdy, very bulky and blocky, which I really do like every once in a while. Kind of a bulky, blocky figure. Like Kingdom Galvatron, this does remind me of how bulky and buff and blocky Galvatron is, and this is really what they did with this figure. I think it really, really works. So overall, a really good figure, and again, no, he's not my top 5, just because the tabs, you know, that might be very picky to some people. I do just wish those were tabbed in better. Also, I do kind of wish this was not a thing, these feet back here. I didn't mention that before because, of course, that is how it is with all the other 3 versions, Cheetor, Ravage, and Shadow Panther. You know, I really can't put that as a complaint because that is just part of the mold. That's how it's been for the last 3 versions of this character, so I was expecting it to be that way when I bought this figure. But it is a good figure, just I don't think it's as good as Blaster. I think Blaster really knocked it out of the water. If you haven't seen my Kingdom Blast review, make sure you go check that out. I also do have 2 stop motions of him, so make sure you go check that out as well. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.